What's good, guys? Welcome back to the ES Hub European Vanguard League. I am once again joined by my partner in the north, Mr. Pablo. How are you, Pabs?
I am fantastic this evening, mate. I am a little bit hyperactive because I've been like on one all day and I've been super excited. This league is crazy. I mean, a truly international affair, major. What an evening of Call of Duty we've got ahead of us.
Yeah, we got some players that we know a lot about and some players that we don't know a lot about. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. This Vitalized roster is going to be a different one to the one that we're been casting the past couple of days. This one is F. Kaka, Kane, and the last player is Tony. That's the last one.
Yep.
But a really talented roster once again. Vitalized always pretty stacked teams, aren't they?
Man, well, we know already kind of what Kaka's capable of. He's been in loads of different teams. We've watched him develop over in real gaming. We certainly know all about F. He's like one of the kind of like breakthrough players of last season. And we've got, some history with Kane, and I've seen him when he was at Katana and stuff. So really only Tony EU for me that as an unknown quantity. And I mean, in terms of Tychos, I mean, what more excitement could you want? A complete set of 4 players that we've never seen before from a team we don't get to cast very often. So I'm quite raring to go on this one, Major. I'm not going to lie.
I think
excited.
I think Tony is forgive me if I'm wrong, the Tony that used to play on no formation. So again, another talented player to add to this pretty cracked 4. But guys, if you are just hopping on board with us, we've got another best of 5 as per usual in this Group C game, and this is currently how the group is currently standing. So Vitalized, they haven't actually played a game at the moment, currently at 0-0, and Taiko, or Taiko, whichever way you want to pronounce it, they are yet to win a game at the moment, currently in 6th. So an important game for them, Pablo, really, in terms of trying to get their group momentum going.
Yeah, definitely need to get the ball rolling now. And no better time than ever to play Vitalized's second team. But let's be honest about this. This team, this Vitalized Black side, is capable of anything. Their player F-Dot has got to be one of the most well-regarded players in Call of Duty AM scene over the last, say, 6 months. So, I think and see this Vitalized Black team doing just as well as the Vitalized team we've been casting for the last few days.
Yeah, so they've obviously this is their kickstart game to their Group C matchup here, and we do have the maps as well. Courtesy of Mr. Diomedes, big shout out to him in the background who's put together the graphics for us. So we've got Berlin Hardpoint. It's 1, 3, and 4 for the hardpoints once again, guys. So Berlin Hardpoint, we then go into a Tuscan Search. We then have Bocage Hardpoint, Tuscan Hardpoint. So plenty of fast-paced action again for us old guys, Pabs. And then the Berlin Search and Destroy, just to see us out in a little more gentle style this time around.
I mean, we're talking Berlin S&D is going to be the slow game. That's insane. I mean, it's fast paced. I mean, we've barely been able to keep up with the Tuscan Bocage back to backs. It's been a tongue twister of an evening every time we've done it. But to say that it's not exciting, I mean, the amount that we've tried to unpack in terms of problems is one thing, but one thing that isn't a problem is the level of excitement that it brings the viewer. I mean, it's crazy. It's almost impossible to keep up with, but thankfully, we've got the major at the helm, so we're there, so it's all good. But again, it's just. I mean, is this going to be the pace for the whole season? No, I mean, it's wild.
Yeah, it's one of those potential matchups here where, because we know how good these Vitalized players are, it's almost similar to the one that we casted the other day, where it was like you expect a lot from them. So the other team that's going to be on the other side on this occasion, Tycho, they're going to have to bring quite a lot for this series if they're going to put up a good fight against them.
Yeah, 100%, and this is it. Absolutely. I mean, you're completely correct. It's just, I mean, it's mind blowing at times. But tonight, obviously, for the Taiko side, it is Taiko. This team, are they from Spain, I believe? So I'm just super excited for what potentially, they could throw up some spanner in the works for the Vitalized Black boys. But yeah, I'm just literally just can't wait to get underway. And again, this ES Hub tournament is just bringing some of the best names around. Really is bringing up some of the best in the whole of the EU scene. We're digging to get some more rosters, but I've seen, as well as in the leagues and stuff, they've got the top AMs knocking around. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's good to see these prize pools going around. We saw a lot before in Cold War, it felt like Warzone had a lot of the main player interest and player base because of the prize pools that these guys were playing for. But now when you've got the likes of ES Hub coming through, where you've got potentially thousands in a prize pool, it does attract the talented players in the AM scene to want to commit time to entering these tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, these guys put a lot of time and effort. Some of them have given up work. Some of them are kind of used this to try and springboard themselves to being able to make a living from this. So they're putting the time in, and they want a reward. They want to be able to show, you know, a lot of these guys are still living at home with their parents, and they want to be able to say, look, we can make money, and it's tournaments like this that perfectly encapsulate that, you know, the potential for Vega or FDOT or someone like that to be able to, you know, say, look, I just won like 800 euros from playing Call of Duty over the space of a week. You know, that's well more than an average weekly wage right there to play a game that you love, that you can be so passionate about. 100%, mate. And the more that we have leagues like this, the better it is for Call of Duty. There's this huge AM hole that's presently being left behind by the CDL Pro League being so far ahead in terms of finances that it's great to see leagues like this just fill that void and be able to provide what is potentially a living for a lot of these players.
Yeah, and it's one of those where last year, or last COD, should I say, not last year, but we saw a lot of these players start to develop quite a lot through Cold War, and as the season progressed, you saw particular players start to come to the forefront. You mentioned like FDOT, one of those players who was kind of a shining light last year, and I think it was on Real Gaming he was on last year, if I'm not mistaken, but we've also we've got a talented roster all round here on this evening's display in terms of Vitalize. But it'll be good to see how they transition over. This is, I think, the first time that we'll be properly seeing some of these players, like these spotlight players that we've kind of flagged up. Like Tony was a consistent player on No Formation last year. So it's going to be interesting to see how they get on in this game, because this will be the first one that we've seen them as a new team, completely different team as well, obviously different roster, but bringing these players together in Vanguard.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, one good sign is that they're actually playing Vanguard. So, you know, we've had this conversation already, and for those of you who probably may not have tuned into the earlier Vitalized games, we've talked about the fact that Vanguard has forced some players to transition over to Halo because of the time to kill, because of the problems with the game, because of the meta and the GAs and the other problems. And it's just great to see the likes of FDOT and Kaka and Kane and Tony and that, you know, they've clearly enjoying the beginning of this game, it clearly plays to their strengths. So, you know, it's a good sign that maybe, you know, the what, not controversy, but maybe the knee-jerk reaction, the backlash to what has been quite an appalling rollout of a Call of Duty, maybe is being a bit too much. And now that we're actually seeing some comp games, we can appreciate a little bit more. Maybe that this game could be just as much fun as the last few games, maybe last 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, I definitely think the game's got potential. The game's got potential. I mean, we've seen areas within it that personally I find very exciting. Hardpoint is always fast paced. I think Search and Destroy, the pacing obviously slows down naturally anyways, but it works really well for this Call of Duty. And although we've had that delay from like the first Challengers Cup, it's good to see that it's only by a week. So fingers crossed, we're not going to wait too much longer for that third game mode for everything to kind of be confirmed, so that everything feels like it can kind of go forwards from there.
Tony's sister's now following, which is awesome news. Tony's family have jumped on board to help out, to come and lend some support, which is grand. But yeah, I think one of the weird features of Cold War S&D was that, you know, you were waiting for Express to be able to see a bomb actually get planted, because a lot of the S&D maps are quite large, Raid and Moscow in particular, obviously. And obviously you say when Checkmate was in the rotation, no one would go A Street because it was just pointless. So you had this constant B-bomb, kind of like players trying to get bomb site control. But then you look at this game, and you know, our first S&D that we cast together, and it's Bocage, and the bomb is planted within what, 3 or 4 seconds of the game picking up. It was like, what? So usually you get this like cagey affair where you've got like 25 seconds of just being able to talk through stats or talk through some information, but this was straight in. Like and as soon as that bomb was planted, 6 players dropped. So you were talking like a 25-second round, 20-second round. So if anything, this game might be just the most fast-paced, most exciting game to watch in a long time.
Yeah, it definitely keeps us on our toes, doesn't it?
Man, I like just trying to watch it. I mean, I mean, for the viewer, just the best thing to do is just have a look at the defensive setups for Bocage. Is there a Bocage S&D in this today? No, it's Tuscan and Berlin. It's Tuscan and Berlin.
Yeah.
All right, so Berlin won't be too bad, but Tuscan's still quite a small map, so it'll be interesting to see how the defending team sets up because Bocage, the defensive team, have got so much work to do. It's such a small map. It's so fast paced. If you don't get that set up right, it's round over. But yeah, hopefully, I mean, our main thing for I think tonight for us, Major, is let's see a game 4.
Yeah, yeah. And just quickly, speaking of seeing, Pablo, you can see everything all right. Just to double check, is everything good on your end?
Yeah,
cool. Sweet.
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
Just wanted to double check.
And if anyone was watching on that like third question that Major asked, and they're going, "What the hell is Pablo on about?" I completely wasn't listening. I was just typing to Major, going, "Can't see anything. I don't know what's going on."
Yeah. So guys, it looks as though everyone is in and ready for the lobby. So we're just waiting on the guys to get started. Fingers crossed. We don't have any issues with scan and repair. And it has been a bit of a pain in the backside from time to time, but touch wood, it'll be all right this evening. Yesterday we had some smooth running, almost. I think. Oh no, yesterday. Sorry, I did it on my own, didn't I? But there was an issue. I got it midway through the game that time. So even for players and podcasters alike, there always seems to be something. You had it with the weird little mini map, didn't you, the other day?
Oh man, I had this problem when I was doing VODs that it just wouldn't give me big map, and I was like, why the hell want to do this? Turns out it was Windows borderless. Look what I brought tonight, though, man. Oh. We've got the shades, S&D shades.
There you go. That's just in case we get the shining light of our Lord and Saviour from the bomb site.
Yeah, I'm not ready to go down the tunnel yet.
Yeah.
I might look it, but I'm not ready.
So yeah, guys, it looks as though we are ready to go here for map number 1 on the Berlin hardpoint. And it looks as though, yep, everyone's on the right seams, so we are good to go. And I believe this roster is Spanish, isn't it, Pablo, for Taiko?
Absolutely, man. 100%. Looks like they've spawned good side as well. Definitely a feature of this Berlin hardpoint is that there is a good side and bad side. And you can tell already, Taiko already in the hill, and that's causing Vitalize to have to challenge from the front.
Yeah, it's already a really strong start from these Vitalize players. We know the talent that this roster have got. But knowing from what we've seen from previous Spanish teams, they bring the Vamos, they bring the pace as well. So it looks as though these the SMG players that you look towards on the side of Vitalize will potentially have their hand full here. And they've still got 15 seconds remaining on the scrap time here, Vitalize. And it looks as though Zappy is going to try and work his way round to chow the corner, but never mind, nothing comes on it. But it looks as though Taiko, they've had a pretty clean rotation over towards the next hill, so they're in a good position to hold a decent amount of time. They've just got to stop those Vitalized players from pushing over.
Man, Zappy with the windiest shots I've seen so far this week, whether that's latency or not, but he is not going to be causing anyone from Vitalized Black any problems with shots like that. Presently 1 and 3, so yeah, that tells a story. Kane does look like he's enjoying Berlin hardpoint already. Big kills going down, and as I say that, Kane gets a 2-piece. Already the pace is wild. Again, Major, just... where'd you start with the pace of this game so far, man?
Yeah, and Kane, he does manage to finally get stopped just short of full streaks, but he will have the glide bomb, and I think he'll have the strafing run as well. Yeah, he will. So he's not fully streaked out, but he's got plenty to work with now if he decides to use it potentially for another rotation here. Kaka is just working his way around the back, and he might be a bit of a thorn in the side here for Taker, because I don't think they know he's here. So he might be able to potentially take down a couple. Oh, I think he's going to get COD time in there. Oh, no, he spotted him. Manages to take down one, so Zappy's not going to get him out the back. And he's going to have another gunfight up against Alvaro. He's going to get some shots in, but the Spanish look as though they're holding strong for the time being. And Alvaro, nice couple of kills. F-Dot, the man that we spotlighted, not having the fastest of games as of yet, currently at 7 and 5. But Vitalize, they do have a bit of a cushion, but they're going to have to look to try and break their way into the hill. And it looks as though they've kind of gone the long route, but it looks as though it's paid off for them.
Absolutely, man. It looks like that hill itself was a bit of a moment for the boys from Taiko Esports. They really needed to trade out and get those kills so that they could start to build towards some kind of time, but just wasn't enough on the power of Vitalized Black. Just a little bit too much. And again, with those streaks in hand, and you've got to be concerned going into potentially that back warehouse kind of railway hill, that it's going to be a bit of a slaughter field for for the boys from Takeovers. They are potentially going to get glide bombed out of the hill. But great play so far from Vitalized Black. I mean, Kane 9-4 is absolutely flying. We've got F dot as well, which we expected to a certain extent. But yeah, not sure whether the shots from Takeover are going to be on point this evening, mate.
Yeah, it's one of those where if Vitalize again, we mentioned, it feels like deja vu when we talk about these Vitalize rosters, but when they get going with the talent that they've got on their various rosters, they seem to really get a foothold in the game, stack up the points, and then it's almost no way back. But Takeo, they do have that rotation, and Kitsova here is going to manage to grab a nice couple of kills here, so hopefully they are going to get a bit of momentum. Kane is going to invest that glide bomb, but you can see those red arrows still spawning out the back. They are going to rely on another break, and Shanks just soaking up the time. And Kane, he's looking to be the spoiler once more. Currently 11-5 with a good start here, and he manages to rack up his 12th. And now those red arrows make a U-turn. Kane just getting some shots here into one, but good work there by Shanks just to secure the spawns. So Takeo, they can breathe a sigh of relief, I suppose you could say, for the time being, as they did hold a decent amount of time, and now with that scrap time, they're only going to be 10 seconds trailing.
Man, absolutely awesome play. That was exactly what they needed. They avoided, again, really taking any casualties from that streak, and they've held on for the majority of the time at what is probably one of the more difficult kills once the opposition have got streaks. And you're looking towards players like Kativa, who's been flanking, you know, throughout most of the game and getting kind of like important kills, being a thorn in the side of Vitalized Black, and obviously Shanks as well. But let's not knock down. Zappy got some criticism before for having a few windy shots, but he's put 47 seconds on the board. So this is why the guys from Taiko are able to come back, and why we're about to see a tied up game.
Yeah, so we are now seeing that lead change. So a bit of a rough start coming through from the Spanish boys, but Vitalized now, they are going to be on the back foot as Kaka looks to try and get into the hill. They've really struggled to even touch this at the moment, because Taiko have done a really good job of just locking this down. All those blue arrows have just been really struggling to try and transition over towards the hill. F dot does have info that Shanks is down here, and he does manage to spot him and finalise the kill. So the long route, unfortunately, not going to pay off on that occasion. Alvaro flies around the corner and manages to beam Kaka right off of there. So they've got another opportunity potentially here. Kitsova is still working a bit of a flank here. All the way round he goes. Oh, he might be spotted now, potentially. There is a player. Never mind. The Spanish are doing a good job here. They are managing just to stop the momentum. Vitalized, they're still on the hill. They're still soaking up the time. But Taiko, at least they've got a bit of a cushion to allow them to try and make another break here, potentially.
And one of the things, this is crazy, but this is such a almost a Vitalize-esque performance from the boys from Taiko. They just, you know, now it does seem to be going back and forth, but for a long period that game, they just started to get the rotations correct, just get the right kills, not all the kills, but the right kills at the right time. And it's been a massive mid-game kind of regain from the Spanish side, and hats off to them, because, you know, at the start of this game, I mean, I'm sure we were both thinking the same thing, that we might have to write this off, but huge moments from the Taiko boys in particular. Kativa and, you know, Zappa has come back a little bit. He's only trailing by 5 kills, but he's put a massive 1:18. So doing that dirty work that we talked about the other Vitalized players from the other team doing, so huge plays, and hats off to them. And this is going to be a test of whether Vitalized Black have got that, you know, psychology, whether they've got that strength and determination to bring this back round.
And they've had such a big presence in mid-map, Taiko. They haven't really given Vitalize an absolute second of time, as they do finally break in, though, Vitalize. It looks as though Kaka are going to try and push all the way through the back. He's not going to manage to get through just yet. They're going to start to soak up some more important time now, Vitalize, and they are going to put themselves back in the game. Kane, 1:30 on the hill, doing a good job, and his slaying still going alongside with it at 19 and 13. We tend to see some players going heavy on hill time, and then the slaying not so much, but Kane involved in all the action at the moment. But Taiko, they are going to regain control of the hill, and it's been another solid hill and rotation. So Vitalize going to look to try and chalk it, rotate, and some of these maps, Pablo, we see it, don't we, where even though you may lose a lot of time on one hill, if you rotate early and it's the right one, like we can see on Berlin on this hill now, you can get a big amount of time on it in response and pretty much flip the game on its head again.
Man, multiple money hills. I mean, we've not really seen it before, but this is like definitely one of these kind of odd maps where, you know, and it's great to see, you know, it must be great for players to know that there's potentially, you know, a rotation coming that's going to keep them in the game, and they are not going to lose that rhythm. You know, you take a map like Apocalypse from Cold War, you lose the rhythm, you lose a rotation, that game is done and dusted. But Berlin really looking like a great map to be able to for players to be able to fight. You know, at one point there, Tony got an awesome 2 two-piece. Looked like they were going to control kill, and then Takeo were able to break again. So yeah, just really shaping up to be a really good hardpoint map. Maybe just the right size, a little bit slower than Bocage, but it's looking awesome so far. This is shaping up to be a hell of a game.
Yeah, so although Vitalize, they did have the rotation. Again, Takeo, they managed to steal quite a lot of time on that hill. So now as we go over to another money hill, F-Dot just locking down that middle map, looking to do exactly what Takeo did to them on the previous few hills. They're just stopping the transition of players over, because every single second that he's just delaying these players, just trying to get him out of position, is a second that they managed to get on the board. And it's looking like some good work here from the ARs of Vitalize on this hill. They are now only trailing by 20. Takeo very close to that 200-point mark. Kaka just staying down in the hill, manages to grab one kill. Vitalize, they have got the issue, though, of Zappy in the back. He's going all the way around the back, and just like that, 3 go down, 4 go down, and that's a clean wipe from Takeo, and pretty textbook break there from those boys.
Absolutely. I'm feeling that F-Dot was going to save the day there for Vitalize. He got a load of kills. He was in a really awkward position. Kaka did have the hardpoint nailed down for a little bit, but what a break from Takeo Esports, making it round the back. Zappy, who I accused of being super windy, struggling at 12 and 20, but there he gets the classic dirty work played. He gets the big kills at that moment, and we're looking at 220 to 178 right now, and the ball is definitely in Takeo's court right now.
Yeah, you definitely feel now this is going to be make or break here on this hill for Vitalize, because they are trailing by around 50 points now. It was another good break from Takeo, really efficient. They always seem to take the long routes, and they make them pay for it. And there's another couple of kills from Alvaro, pistol in hand. And look at the combined streak on the side of Takeo at the moment, combining for 12 between 3 of their players. And it looks as though this is going to be all man on deck now. Vitalize, because this is really starting to become dangerous here. They're now 10 seconds away from taking map number 1 here. Takeo are edging this one out. Kane looks as though he might have to be the man to at least take the man off the hill for the time being. Manages to drop one. Shanks will fall. Zappy and Alvaro, though, again getting kills. And number 8, Alvaro, playing it really smart, stopping the reinforcements to the man in the hill. And Kaka, it looks as though he's just trying to delay it for the time being. But even though he's trying his best with 5 seconds left, unless Vitalize have an absolute mammoth hold on this hill and the next one, I think we could be seeing the end of game 1. There's only 4 seconds left now. Nobody's in the hill. Nobody's there to contest. F-Dot has to even touch it. Oh, and just with 1 second left, I think Shanks might be able to rob it right on the rotation. Is a contestant. Someone's in. Kane needs help. Shanks manages to get it done, and never mind, Takeo. They are going to manage to take map number 1, 250 to 183.
Absolute work. What a crazy ending to a game. I honestly thought that Vitalize Black had made it into the hills to contest, but Shanks with an absolutely massive kill towards the end of that game. Literally the last few seconds. What an amazing game, though. This Berlin hardpoint shaping up to be well, definitely for me, a caster favorite right now. Really good sized map with really exciting moments, and the game is never done by the looks of it, which is what we want to see. And what a performance really from Takeo. They were down to begin with, and it did look like it was going to be another dominant performance from a Vitalized side, but the boys just from the Spanish team just dug deep mid-game and brought the win. What a performance.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the it can be the X factor sometimes between good teams and great teams, is that regain. A lot of teams that we've seen so far, when that momentum shifts to one particular direction, it can be very difficult for certain players to regain. Just say, listen guys, chalk the hill, rotate, and we'll go from there. And Takeo, it was textbook from them really in terms of regaining, so credit where it's due. That was a really consistent map 1 from them, especially in the middle portion of the game. They got a huge amount of time.
And I think the other thing to consider is that Berlin really does offer you that moment to take a breath, because, you know, you can imagine that the players that when they're struggling on one hill are just like, chalk that hill, give them the final few seconds, 10 seconds, and let's rotate early and let's get ourselves set up so that we can kind of regain. Whereas you take something like Tuscan, it's so small and so fast that if you're not able to take advantage of the rotation, or you lose the rhythm, or you get tilted, you're not going to be able to regain in the middle of that map. It's going to take something extra special, a really great, like an individual performance where someone drops 3 or 4 players, and obviously at this level that can be super difficult. And with the time to kill in this game, you know, we're still starting to see some 3 pieces now, but it's special moments. It's so few and far between. So yeah, huge play by the boys from Takeo, and what a mid-game regain, and 1-0 to the boys as well. And Vitalized with it all to do in S&D now, so really interesting to see how this Vitalized team shapes up, because I can only imagine as well that they've probably scrimmed the main Vitalized team, and I wonder what they've learned.
Yeah, and we saw how consistent Vitalize the other roster was on Search and Destroy, so it wouldn't surprise me here if we see some consistent performances. I think Host as well plays a little bit of a part with some of these teams. I believe that was on Takeo's Host. Obviously, take nothing away from the performance. It was still, regardless, a really good one. And now, guys, we are going to go in towards this map number 2 on the Tuscan Search and Destroy. And now it's going to be up to Vitalize to try and hit the regain button here. We don't normally say that very often with the games that we've casted so far, Pablo, but they've got a bit of an uphill battle now.
Absolutely, and it's just nice to see, you know, something different this week. It's hopefully we're going to see a bit of a comeback from Vitalize, so we do get to see at the very least that map 4. And again, we're going to see F-Dot with that AR just doing what he did all last season. He's going to try and cause as many problems, anchor, and just be that support player. And we did see it though in the previous map though. When he gets frustrated, he does tend to kind of run and gun even as an AR. So definitely a player to watch out for. But
yeah, and another kill there.
This goes down.
For F-Dot, he's looking for his 3rd of the round. Oh, Zappy stops him just short of that, though. Manages to take him down. But it looks as though they've got eyes on roughly where he is. Tony just holding the corner. I think this kill will be inevitable. Yeah, and Tony manages to grab the kill. So Vitalize going to come out flying a little bit here in this first round, only dropping 1 man. And now 1-0 to the good.
Yeah, and again, it's just all about watching the teams that are on defense and just seeing how they shape up. I got a feeling in Vanguard, the strongest defensive team are going to be the ones that come out as champions because it's so fast. And we saw it previously in the week when we saw the team just completely change tack and slow down, and it started to work for them. So let's watch out for these strategies going into round 2.
Yeah, so we'll see now whether Vitalize can have a solid attacking round here in the opening one. Teams obviously feeling each other out as the first couple of rounds begin to progress, and it looks as though Taiko, they're going to send a couple of players already round the back. F-Dot is starting to sniff something, though. He's just keeping an eye on the long flank because they've got not really much information to work off of here, Vitalize. And F-Dot, he's still sensing it. Is he going to manage to check it? Alvaro opens the door, and then his inevitable death is going to come through. Number 5, Kaka. Got to be careful, though. They have taken down a couple of players. Kitova, though, still roaming around in mid. They know he's there, and it looks as though F-Dot again with another kill. 4-on-1 now, looking to make it 5. They know where Shanks is, the last man. He does manage to at least take down 1. The nade, though, F-Dot playing it smart, gets him to reposition and takes him down for a second Vitalize round in a row.
The classic bit of COD play there, just force the player out from behind the truck with the nade and get that really simple kill. But what play from F-Dot? He reads the flank. The guys did split up, so I don't know whether he saw that player down bottom, but just enough to keep his team in it, and another great performance. And again, it does look like the boys from Vitalize are scrimming S&D hard this season.
Yeah, and I casted a game yesterday between Team UK and Sensei Black, and Team UK, they the first couple of hard points that they had were really rough. But their Search and Destroy was immaculate. They went 12-2 over the first 2 Search and Destroys, and they actually managed to just pinch the respawn. And I know it's a very cliche thing to say in Call of Duty. Oh, and Kak's got a double nade. He's absolutely Kobe'd that to make Kitova and Shanks wait for the next round. But as I was saying, we've seen so many times in the past that S&D really can carry teams to series wins sometimes.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, only 2 S&D maps, and I can see why they've decided to shift it to a 1-3-4 on hard points, just so that those teams have got an opportunity to kind of like that kind of balanced kind of gameplay. But absolute popcorn moment from Kaka right there. And again, really interesting to see how they shape up, because they sent 2 on the flank Titans, and dirty. What an absolute whiz that was. Whiz? Where did that word come from?
The Merseyside vocabulary, Pablo.
It was like fried them. Like, what sound do eggs make? It was so weird that Taiko sent 2 out on the flank, and I think that cost them in the previous round. And you can see how the benefits of having 3 on the defensive, 1 defensive area, but sending 1 on the flank has again really paid dividends for Vitalize, and they're looking dominant in S&D.
Yeah, so pretty flawless from Vitalize so far. They are definitely putting them to the sword here in map number 2. If you did miss map number 1, guys, Taiko managed to take it 250 to 183. And this is map number 2 here. First map was Berlin Hardpoint, and the Spanish lads did a really good job. But Vitalize with a solid start here to the search. Tony's actually going to manage to get... Was that an assassination? I'm not quite sure how he managed to kill him there, but he's going to manage to even up the numbers to 3 apiece. He's going to check the corner F-Dot, and he manages to get his 7th kill in just 4 rounds. So he's coming out absolutely frying. The last man now, Kitova, is going to be in mid-map, and Vitalize, they are putting on a stellar performance, but Kitova looking to try and prove the spoiler, but now he's stuck in a 1 versus 2.
Yeah, and those two players are probably not going to be very forgiving, Tony and Kaka. Again, the whole team positive. Vitalize Black just absolutely dominant in this S&D. It's just been an absolute contrast to the previous game. This has been somewhat of a spanking. And Kitava, who was the player of the previous game, going like 27 and 12, I think, in the hard point. So bit of work for him to do. Not impossible. He's made it a 1v1. And this is going to come down to Kaka Cod. Has he got the nerve? Oh,
Oh, Kitava, I think he's timed this to perfection. He's spotted Kaka, and what a clutch there from Kitava, and that is a much-needed round there for Takeo, because that was beginning to snowball towards Vitalize quite heavily, but a massive round there from Kitava. Manages, well, that was a 1v3, I believe, manages to drop F-Dot, and Kaka, the final man, falls as well, so a really big round there for those boys, and that is the regain, potentially, that they might need to keep themselves alive here in this map.
And we said this earlier on, you know, when it comes to these kind of like S&D games where there's one team that are quite dominant, it is largely comebacks are going to come down to whether there's a player or two on the other team who can just go big. And we've seen it right there. The player of the first game, Kitava, going huge with a 1v3. But not just that, you saw the decision making, so clearly a smart player. And, you know, with any luck, or hopefully they can bring Alvaro into the game. Again, we're seeing this 0. When they get a player on a donut, as soon as he comes into the game, we tend to see that team start to bring things round.
Yeah, and Vitalize, they're just playing this passively at the moment. They didn't really get much information over towards that A site. We saw a couple of players just transition over towards B. I believe it was Kaka that threw the stun and got the nade hit, but Alvaro, first blood goes in their favour, and he manages to grab a second as well. There's a third man around the corner. Can't quite cut down the third, but the damage is done now. Kaka is now going to have to emulate what Kitava did in the round previous. He's now got to try and work the 1v3 here. The bomb is down as well, so his mountain to climb even more steeper. We'll see if he can manage. Check the corner here. Kitava just waiting around the corner. Oh, I think this is some bad. How has he not seen him? Hello? Yeah, never mind. He managed to get him. So Takeo with a second round in a row, and they are straight back in this search.
A man, turn the headset up. I mean, even with Ninja, there's no sound whatsoever, and the guy is next to him, and it's taking him to run in front. That is crazy play. Another weird kind of mechanic in this, what is ostensibly a very strange Call of Duty so far. But again, not able to emulate Kitava. A lot to ask, though. I mean, that was a big ask for Kaka Cod, but Alvaro brings himself into the game, and now we find ourselves in a 3-2 to Vitalize Black.
Yeah, so again, it was almost an emulation of the first map. Takeo struggling off the start, but now the momentum is starting to shift with them again, and Kaka, he's flown straight in. There's going to be two players here. He's going to manage to take down one and all. Just managed to get away with his life. But now there is going to be a glide bomb, and it's going to land right in the back pocket of Kane. Not really much he can do about that. Zappy just looking to try and potentially take down another, and it's a good round once again from Takeo, leaving Tony now the last man up. He's now got to try and clutch up. Oh, he does spot Alvaro. Oh, but the itchy trigger finger gets the better of him on that occasion, and I think he's going to fall as well. So it looks as though that defuse is going to come through for Takeo, and it's going to be a tied series.
Read like a book there, I'm afraid, Tony. That little tiny mistake with the pre-fire is just giving everyone the information they need, and it was eventually a really easy win to bring this back to 3-all, and we are seeing map 1 kind of happening all over again, and are Vitalize just going to let this slip? Are they going to, you know, potentially they go 2-0 down? This is a big moment. This is, psychologically speaking, you know, are they going to be able to do a mid-series regain of this kind of magnitude at 2-0? But it's only 3-all, so it's a long way to go. Yeah, interesting to see how these Vitalized Black boys are going to shape up, but it looks like it's going to be the same again. They're going to send that player on the flank, Kaka Cod, and try and stack A site with 3 players.
Yeah, we can see the presence over towards this A site. Kane is going to manage to work his way into mid, and he might be able to be the man to be the X factor in this round, because look at the dominance that they are showing over towards A. They've pushed all the way up, Takeo, and they've just got Zappy watching that flank. You've got Kitava watching the other side, but you feel the first kill any second could be make or break here. Kane, is he going to stay composed? He's going to get some shots in and shanks. He gets away with his life, so that is exactly what you didn't really want if you're Vitalize. I'm surely going to start to see Kaka potentially make a play on the flank here. They're still got a bit of time to work with here, and Tony gets the first blood. It is a much needed one. Kitava is going to be there for the trade, but now in a 3 versus 3, Kane, he's got eyes all over that A bomb site, and Takeo, they've got to try and commit something here and push out a particular direction. It looks as though they're going to try and wrap it over towards the B bomb site. F-Dot's in charge, though, but he's not going to win that one. He gets absolutely fried from Shanks. The MP40 doing absolute wonders for him. Kane evens up the numbers once again. And Shanks, he's going to run straight into Kaka, just re-wrapping the bomb again. Takeo, and this is pretty stellar. Search and destroy from then. Kane, he needs some help, though. Unfortunately, everyone's dead. He's all on his lonesome. 1 versus 2. 3 positions, and I think Zappy's going to spot him here. And he gets the kill, and it's another good round from Takeo.
Absolutely. And the mistake there, I feel, for Vitalize was that they sent a player on the flank, and they clearly knew 4 players were on that A-bomb site and never once recalled them into position. And he stayed on the flank for almost the whole game. By the time he transitioned back to the bomb site, Takeos were already moving to the other bomb site. So crazy plays from Vitalize there, and a really, really well-deserved round win for the boys from Spain.
Yeah, and 4 rounds in a row now for these guys. That momentum is well and truly with Takeo. So Vitalize, I believe F-Dot he had 7 kills in round 3, was it? So it shows how much Vitalize have slowed down a little bit here. They've just really struggled with the adaptation, but that's a lot better there. Kaka, first blood for him. Alvaro, though, is looking to try and make the trade. He manages to spot him, and Alvaro manages to tie up the numbers. They are going to get the bomb down, however. This time, the Vitalize black players now in a slightly different position, but you can see number 6, Tony, is nowhere near the bomb. He's going to potentially make a bit of a flank here. It might pay off with Alvaro just underneath him. But they've got a lot of work here to do. Takeo, they've got 30 seconds left to try and get this bomb defused. And Alvaro's actually managed to transition over towards the bomb site. I think Tony has got eyes on it. Oh, and yep, just about. With the help of his teammate, manages to get it. And now Zappy, left in the 1 versus 2, still needs the bomb defused to go with it as well. And it looks as though Vitalize, I might be made to eat my words here. He's made it a 1v1. Zappy versus Tony. I think Tony's just going to play the bomb here. Just play the timer. He's got eyes on it. He knows they can't get the defuse in, and it is a much-needed round for Vitalize.
Absolutely. The importance of dropping Kitova early on for Vitalize Black is just, it's clear for everyone to see. The guy's absolutely gone off in the last 4 rounds, and him getting killed, I think that's kind of like that talismanic figure. He's absolutely frying at the minute, and when they drop him, they just seem to have a little bit more control, but a great performance there from Vitalize to bring it back to 4-all.
Yeah, and it looks as though we've got a hell of a close S&D here in map number 2. Takeo currently leading 1-0 if you are just jumping on board with us, guys. They took map 1, 250 to 183 on the Berlin hardpoint. And Spanish lads with a huge set of 4 rounds in a row after Vitalize went 3-0 up in this search. But we're now back to a tied game once more. And it looks as though Takeo, they're going to try and do a similar approach here. Just have that presence over towards the A-bomb site. And this time F-Dot, MP40 in hand. But he does catch a nade straight to the face. And the shots of Alvaro collide to combine and take him down. And this is a big kill if Tony manages to get it. He does manage to get it, Kane. But he flies round. And the duo on the side of Takeo in Shanks and Alvaro are there and waiting. And this next kill is going to be huge for Vitalize here. So now Kaka, 2 versus 2, can't get the kill. It's all on Tony. 1 versus 2, bombs down, and again, similar situation where it might be the timer that gets the better of him. He has been spotted by Shanks, but he's got to be quick here. Tony manages to grab one. But we see this position again from Zappy. We saw it in the previous round. The Vitalize took, and I think it was actually Tony himself that was up here, wasn't it? So it looks as though it's going to be a round in favour of Takeo, and now they will only be 1 round away from going 2-0 up in the series.
Absolutely, and again, Vitalize with this really weird kind of flank, sending Kaka really wide, even though they get eyes on players, and he stays out the game for so long that by the time players do drop, they're outnumbered and there's no one there to trade, and I think that's been the problem right there. I'm not sure what's going on with communications with the Vitalize boys, and it's definitely costing them huge now, as we are potentially 1 round away from the series going 2-0 in favour of the Spanish lads.
Yeah, it definitely feels as though the bomb retakes from Vitalize haven't quite been as coordinated as they could have been. They've usually sent the lone man over towards the site to try and take them out of middle, but they're not managing to make it work, at least for the previous couple of rounds. F-Dot is going to get really aggressive into top church here, and he might be able to make the play because there's a couple of players here. F-Dot spots one, he spots the second and manages to take them both down. Kitova is going to manage to clean out one. The glide bomb of Zappy takes one down, and now it's all on Kane. It all rests on his shoulders here to keep his team's hopes alive here in map number 2. Otherwise, they will require the reverse sweep. Kane does have the bomb, at least. If he decides to plant it down at B quickly, he's not going to have anyone near him. So, got to make the decision fast, though. The paranoia probably sinking in because he's just checking absolutely everything. Surely going to try and stick the bomb shortly. 35 seconds left. Takeo, they've got control of the A site, but it looks as though he's going to get the bomb down. And with 30 seconds left, we'll manage to do it. So 45 seconds on the clock. Takeo, they are rushing over towards the site. They'll probably, you would assume, play in each other's back pockets, but Kitova, oh, the timing on that. Kane might have potentially been able to get some important information had he just stayed there a split second longer. And now can he spot the remaining two players? They're pretty close to each other. Oh, he just checks the bomb, but they're using the smokes. They're both up here. Kane gets one. Kane, oh, he gets both as well. Kane with a massive round. Vitalize Esports, or Vitalize Black, should we say. They are going down, but they are not out as of yet. Kane keeps them alive. Just about. What a round from him.
Man, and that tells you, I mean, paranoia, what a word to use. The guy doesn't know which way to turn or twist, but then the time to kill in this game is incredible, and that MP40 destroys the Spanish lads. And Kane, hero of the day there, bringing it back to a round 11. This has been a hell of a series so far. Just absolutely, like, knocked it out the park in terms of quality and entertainment, but big plays by Kane right there. And the flank, I mean, eventually has paid off. The kind of, like, tactics I get there. This is going to be so important now, and it's going to come down to who is
F-Dot. He gets the first round, the man that has proven to be the X Factor so many times, every time we've seen him, and he manages to get the first blood on that occasion. You can see Kane, though, he's going on quite a quick flank. They did call in more streaks. I believe it was the bombing, no, it wasn't the bombing run, sorry, the other one, the name escapes me now, but Kitova manages to grab one kill, 3 versus 3, as they manage to tie up the numbers. And Shanks, he gets an important kill. They're still trying to play for that side control. And number 8 now, F-Dot, last man up. He's run out of ammo. He's going to fall. And unfortunately, Takeo, they are going to get the bomb defused. They're going to take it 6-5. And they are going to go 2-0 up in the series.
Absolutely, man. F-Dot was so unlucky not to get that kill over towards Tiles. And saw the door open. He saw the player, and he just could not get the kill. He manages to play his life. The Spanish lad backs out, and ultimately Takeo, I mean, with a well-deserved win. 4 rounds on the bout. They just came back so strong. And once more, that man Kitova is right there with 13 kills. Huge plays.
Yeah, the lads of Vitalize, you feel after that one, that is going to hurt, because they were so close to tying up the series, and now they need the reverse sweep. So it's one of those where the regain button is well and truly in need of being hit right now.
Man, that regain button is like the size of a house, because 2 back-to-back hard points. Now this is where things get tasty. Bocage and Tuscan, 2 really fast hard point maps. I mean, as far as we're concerned, we would expect someone like Kaka and Kane to just absolutely go off in a game like this. But the guys from Takeo, Kitova in particular, I think this is just going to be as much fun, these hard points, as the likes of Kane would maybe enjoy it. But Bocage and Tuscan, I don't think this is going to be very forgiving if Berlin hard point is anything to go off.
Yeah, and you definitely feel now that they are 2 up. Takeo are surely going to be feeling confident after that. You cannot put a price on a round 11 search and destroy win, even if it's not game 5. That Spanish chat is probably going to be pretty lit for the time being, at least for now. After that one, plenty of Vamoses, you would assume.
Yeah, absolutely. The comms will be off the hook. And honestly, the other thing is, you know yourself, when you've come off a round 11 defeat, you tend to big sigh, you slouch back in the chair, you're not staying focused, you're not staying forward. You know the psychology, you know the stature of the Spanish lads is a complete juxtaposition to the boys from Vitalize Black. And this is where the big players come in. This is where you expect your F-Dots and your experienced players like Kaka to start, getting themselves G'd up. Forget those 2 games. We've got 2 back-to-back hard points. It plays into our strengths. One of them at least is going to be on our host. So you would hope, and they've got as much opportunity to bring this back as any other team. But 2-0, I don't know. Kitova just looks so strong. Alvaro struggled in the S&D, but his hard point looks really good. Zappi doing the dirty work as well. I mean, the kid didn't put up big numbers, but he put up such big time in that first hard point in Berlin. I don't know, just lots to... Predictions are impossible right now, but I mean, I can see. I've got to hope Vitalize Black can get 1 game. That's what we got to hope. Can bring it at least 1 game back. Let's see if they can get this Bocage hit hard point. It's set up for them. It's super fast paced. It's super quick. Let's hope it plays to their strengths. But right now, Takeo just looking absolutely awesome.
Yeah, really, really good from those boys. And we mentioned it as well from the map 1. Vitalize, they got their foot in the door. They just couldn't see it out. And again, we saw them go 3 up in the search, and Takeo just hit the big, massive regain button themselves. And now here they are, 2-0 up, 1 map away from taking this Group C game. So we are now loading into Bocage hardpoint, guys. We will now switch you over as Vitalize now need that all-important reverse sweep, and it is going to have to start here on Bocage. We're hoping now, Pablo, we can see some stellar performances potentially from these Vitalized lads that we're so used to seeing put up big numbers, especially in respawns.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd be looking to players like F-Dot in particular, who had such a great end to Cold War, but they're about to launch into what is already shaping up to be one of the most difficult P1s in Call of Duty history. There are so many doorways, so many lines of sight. It's insane. Yeah, hopefully we're going to see our big players, you know, the big players do well, but who knows, man? Absolute work, and there it is. F-Dot and Tony duoing up to be able to drop and get that kill feed entirely the way of Vitalized Black.
So again, you feel it's almost deja vu here, combining for a 7 streak, all 4 players right off the rip. Finally, Zappy is going to stop that streak eventually. 3 go down, and Vitalized, they've got a good amount of time here on P1. You mentioned, Pablo, it's not an easy one to hold, but F-Dot looking to try and grab the kill, but Tycho, look at them go. They are now starting to rack up a few kills of their own. They've got the rotation over towards P2 as well. It shows on hardpoint how quickly you can start to flip out these spawns, and all of a sudden, you are now in a position as Shanks now on a 3 streak, and all of a sudden, him, Kitova, and Zappy all combining for kills. It looks as though Vitalize are going to go around the back here to try and make the play. See if they can manage to do it. Kaka all the way out in the back, and it looks as though those players are going to try and transition over. Just going to get cut down one at a time. So a good regain from Vitalize. They didn't have the spawns early on with that Takeo break, but it looks as though they have now managed to secure them for the time being, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And a big moment for Tony and a big moment for Kaka right now, because they're going to need to read where those players are heading and coming from. But again, we see this. We see these teams that aren't maybe as cohesive as a team, you know, fly out the blocks and use that gun skill, but then the team that are clearly working together and just doing that bit better. And that's what happened in that map one. Just start to take over. But right now, Vitalized Black looking good. They managed to regain what is also a really difficult kill. But right now, it's all about this P3 and all about this bottom grannies.
Yeah, and Kane manages to chew through 2 players, makes the 3rd as well. Really good work from him. They still have those back spawns. Zappy is now going to have Shank spawn up on top of him. And it looks as though Vitalize, although it was looking promising with a couple of kills coming through for those boys, they will now re-rack some more kills. So it's almost like they're relying on their heavy slaying ability at times to get them out of difficult situations, because Takeo, again, they're looking efficient at times. And Vitalize now starting to push this lead out as we go past the 30-point difference, but it's not the biggest of cushions as we saw in map 1, Pablo, where Takeo managed to streak, what, 2-3 hills together, and all of a sudden we saw that lead change, and they take the map.
And that's on a hill where there is definitely breathing room, and this has gotten 0 breathing room. You need to make these plays and these transitions really quickly. Everything needs to be super accurate. I know if you're a viewer right now, just watch that little map and just see how many times spawn changes. It's insane. It like rotates on a 360. The spawns in this game, in this map in particular, are so difficult to predict. And obviously you can see these players spinning around looking to see where the opposition are coming from. It's an insane map for Hardpoint, but one of the best, most exciting maps we've seen in a long time. But I just don't feel like 40 points is enough of a cushion for the Vitalized boys right now. They're going to need to get well clear of this Spanish side to bring this game back.
Yeah, and Takeo, they did opt just to rotate early for this hill. They're making it work for the time being because they still have players out the back in Zappy, just locking them down. Kaka looking to try and get him out of that. Oh, and a cheeky little body shot potentially from Zappy, or a pre-fire, who knows, but only he will. And Vitalized, like you mentioned, that lead is already starting to get chewed through a little bit here by Takeo, because they are getting kills in and around the hill. Vitalized at times, but it just feels like they're pushing potentially one at a time here. Kane is going to try and stabilize the ship a little bit with 1 kill, but again, back and forth, the trades looking efficient. F-Dot doing a good job in terms of kills at 14 and 7, but Vitalized now, that lead is going to be in the hands of Takeo. It's been swept from underneath them, and now they're going to look towards this next hill to try and stabilize for the time being, at least.
Well, this is what we saw in Berlin, where we saw Vitalized start to give up that kind of like last 15 seconds of each hill when they realized that they were just getting outplayed and outslain. But they just got broken so easily in the next hill, and this is what they need to avoid. And we just see it right there as Alvaro goes in and destroys Kane, and they're back in control of that dockside hill. This is really great play by the boys from Takeo Esports, and this is almost a replica of that map 1, my mum.
Yeah, it's really difficult at times when you mentioned the pacing of the game to try and get a consistent foothold, because it feels as if all of a sudden you could be watching the front of the hill and then somebody's ran all the way around the other side of it to flank you and win the spawns. But the Spanish are on an absolute tear at the moment. Zappy's now on a 7. We'll stay on board with him because he's going to spot pretty much the whole gang crossing over. Takes down another one. He will be fully streaked out. He will get taken down, but it's a big chunk of time on that hill from Takeo. Is going to put them around 30 points in the lead now as we go back over towards that P1, but a really important bit of time from Takeo. And the slaying, although for particular players on Vitalize is showing, the time isn't really at the moment.
An 8 and 11 for Kakakod is not where that he wants to be. He's only got 9 seconds, so he's not really contributing right now. And I think this second rotation of kills, he's going to need. Oh, that is not a good start for F-Dot, who manages to flash himself or stun himself. But yeah, Kaka needs to get involved in this game. He either needs to put time on the board or he needs to start slaying out, because right now he's costing the Vitalize boys quite heavily. You know, Kane's down, but 1 minute 17 on the clock. He is doing the work, but. Yeah, Kakakod definitely needs to start to have a little regain himself and get these P2 rotations down.
Yeah, it's another P1 where Vitalize have held a lot of time on a hill that potentially you're not really entitled to. So they are straight back in it again. And the streaks are now going to be invested. You can see now the strafing run as Tony and Kane both get kills. Zappy is going to take F-Dot down, though, with the streaks. And now Vitalize again. They're going to have to try and rotate around the back. And it's just money hills at the moment, you feel, for Vitalize at the moment. Kane is now going to work his way around the back. So they should start spawning out. Yeah, Shanks is going to spawn further away from the hill on this occasion with Kaka locked up in the back. But then not really budging these players off of the hill. You've still got Alvaro just sat on the hill, keeping his head down, soaking up the time. And Kaka, surely we're going to start to see some aggression towards the man in the hill because he's been cooped up out in the back. But unfortunately for Vitalize, they've had the close spawns. But again, it's a money hill for Takeo, where they are soaking up so much time.
Yeah, that Kaka, you look at player 1, Kakakod, he was in chicken for so long and never once challenged Alvaro, who was just sat in the kill and just absolutely soaked up, 35 seconds maybe for Takeo without any challenge. You got 2 players in barn. All right, they might be on top barn, so it might be more difficult, but Kakakod essentially just hanging out chicken and not really contributing. And I think Kakakod does need to get into this game right now. This is, starting to slip away slowly but surely. And when you've only got 3 players playing, you potentially could be on a receiving end of a 3-0 right now. But it's still close, 20 seconds in it. So absolute potential right there for Kaka to turn this round. 19 seconds, 11 and 15. I do feel like he's killed a little bit more than he's died in the last few seconds. So maybe Vitalize Black definitely getting that urgency. I'm starting to see a little bit more urgency in their gameplay, but Granny's is not forgiven.
Yeah, and they're still spawning out the back, but Takeo are just watching all the flanks. F-Dot, beams coming through from the young Phenom himself. Some more great shots that we're so used to seeing coming through from him, but it's still Takeo on the hill, and he's starting to chop through a few players now. Is F-Dot, you feel that when he gets this free roaming role, and you allow the players just to kind of do the dirty work around him, that's when we see the best F-Dot on the big screen, and he's showing it a little bit here. We're seeing glimpses of it from Vitalize, and they are still in with a shout of this map. They're down, but by no means F-Dot is just cutting down Takeo players left, right, and center at the moment, as he's now pushed his streak out to 5. He's got a glide bomb in his pocket as well if he does decide to use it. But now he just needs pretty much for his team to just get on the hill and hold the right angles.
Yeah, F-Dot just went on. He's on a 6 right now, and he's absolutely on a tear. And again, that free roam really has played in his hands. And at the same time, that ability of him to be able to cut those players down has brought Kane back. Kakakod back into the game a little bit more. He's now only 14 and 16, and now we're seeing a tied-up game. And that's exactly what we said. Again, Bocage isn't forgiven, but yeah, definitely looks like a quality mid-game regain from the boys from Vitalize Black. F-Dot going off right now, 29 and 19.
Yeah, and Tony's looking to join him in the gang of fully streaked out, because he is now 1 kill away from full streaks himself, and it was at one point, I believe, a 15 combined streak between 3 of the Vitalized players. So they are now going to swip. They are going to flip. That was a combination of swap and flip. Swip. And they are going to flip the game on its head now as we see another lead change. They are now in a good position to hold a decent amount of time. F-Dot still just roaming around for the time being, locking down these particular lanes as they got him just free roaming for the time being, and Tony looks as though he's doing a similar thing. And look where those red arrows of Takeo are spawning so far away from the hill. This is an immaculate hold so far from Vitalize. Tony going to have another gunfight. Shanks with the peek, but he gets one. Kitava is going to be there for the trade. They are going to potentially invest some streaks as well. Looks as though Kane will get back on the hill to soak up the time, so they will be the first team to surpass the 200-point mark here, Vitalize, and this shift in momentum is starting to get a little bit heavier by the second.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is such a weird hill as well, because you do have the tendency to spawn out towards the bottom right, which can allow, you know, the opposition team to get through middle. But right now, it just looks like it's being played really well. This is the longest they've held that dockside spawn as well, so that dockside kill as well. So really great play, but it's still so tight. And we've seen back and forth kill feeds go completely blue to completely red, but definitely F-Dot looking to turn this round. I think he got something like 13 kills and 2 deaths at one point. So he must be absolutely flying right now. Confidence must be high. We're still seeing Kaka just on the struggle just a little bit, but he's managed to get 40 seconds on kill, and I think that lower Granny's hill was just perfect for him to get himself a bit of confidence.
Yeah, and when you look at the slaying on the side, oh no, that's one Kane's not going to want to watch back. When you look at the slaying of Vitalize, you've got F-Dot 38 and 21, Tony 38 and 26, and they're still in with a shout of this one, Takeo. When you look at the kill cams and the scoreboards at times, you feel this is going to be all blue, but the team in red are holding on to their Vamos well and truly tightly, because they're down, but most certainly not out, as we look to go and try and see off this P1 over towards the P2. Zappy looking to try and get involved in P1, manages to snap onto one, can't grab the second, and it's important scrap time here for Takeo, not to give Vitalize any important seconds here, and Shanks manages to take down one, but Alvaro is going to be there to take down Kane, but Vitalize, they've got the man in the back. This is now their opportunity. They just need to get the man on the hill this time.
And this is going to be a huge foot race and a massive pitch battle on this field for control of this tank field kill. And right now, this is where we need to see Kaka get involved, because the last time on that previous rotation, he was absolutely nowhere. He was just in chicken, not contesting, not challenging. So this is a massive moment, and I think if Vitalize can just hold on to this, this is going to be, you know, the beginning maybe of that reverse sweep. But definitely looking to get one on the boards right now, Major.
It's looking like it's inevitable. Kitava needs to try and get in. Oh, he just manages to touch the hill. They are going to get off it for the time being, but it looks like it is going to be a Vitalize win in map number 3, 250 to 198 for the Vitalize boys. And we have got a series on our hand, Pablo.
Oh yes, this is what we wanted. This is superb. We've watched 2 3-0s, but that was absolutely, like, you could almost see the pace change and then Vitalize Black Boys in the middle of that game. F-Dot just like shifted 3 gears, like 46, 25. Are you kidding me? That is absolute non-traded kills, 37. That tells you just he went off on a lone rampage, and it really paid dividends for the boys from Vitalize Black. F-Dot, showing us the Cold War form from the end of the previous season that we expected to see finally comes through, and he drops nearly 50 kills in a crazy, wild contested Bocage hardpoint.
Yeah, tremendous performance there from F-Dot. As you mentioned, that is what we're used to seeing from players like him, putting up the numbers. May not necessarily be on the hill as much, but he does a lot of work in and around it for sure, because he's managed to notch... Did he get... No, it was almost 50, wasn't it? It wasn't quite 50, I think.
46 kills.
46 kills, though. I mean, as a fast-paced map, Bocage, it's inviting talented players like that to get their way closer to 50 kills, and fair play to Vitalize. They have potentially started the reverse sweep.
37 untraded kills for F-Dot, and that means that he went on massive tears. There was 2 definitely back-to-back streaks, and that was towards the end of that P2 rotation when he just started to pick up. And definitely, if he can maintain that kind of performance going into the next game in this Tuscan hardpoint, and if he can get the backing of Kaka COD, if we can start to see Kaka play the kind of form that we'd seen him in previous seasons, this could potentially be going back to that Berlin S&D, and we might actually see a game 5 and get to see some true S&D strategy and not that kind of hyperactivity that you see on Tuscan and Bocage S&D.
Yeah, and guys, as we get ready for this Tuscan hardpoint in map number 4, if you did miss the first maps, Vitalize, they are now in the process of a potential reverse sweep here. Takeo managed to take the first 2 as we get ready for map number 4, and another hardpoint, Pablo, and barely have time to come up for air on some of these.
No, man, it is insane trying to keep up, especially on Bocage. It's just so small. You can even see, I said, keep an eye on the minimap. The spawns change so often. You can see players almost spinning around looking for the opposition. It's so difficult to pin them down. And this is why we see these hard points go back and forth and back and forth. And again, you mentioned it in one of the previous rounds that there are some maps now with multiple money hills. Well, we've finally got a map which has got multiple contest kills. Like, you're seeing that what used to be P1 in most hardpoint games, now it's like you're seeing this across multiple hills in some of these crazy maps.
Yeah, and guys, we are now loading into map number 4 here on Tuscan hardpoint. Vitalize. They weren't able to take the map 1 hardpoint, but they're going to look here to try and take 2 in quick succession. We get ready for map number 4. So we'll stay on board here with Shanks on the side of Takeo. Oof, and straight away out the blocks and gets gunned down by none other than Mr. F. Dot.
Massive kill, and really needed, because they started on good side and look Vitalize straight away getting control of that hill. But Takos replied pretty quickly, and again, this is a very open hill, and you do expect to see a little bit of a back and forth as both teams vie for control of this quite difficult P1. But already we're seeing Kane start to do work, and F Dot in particular is that player to watch. He's 3-1 right now, and yeah, very interesting to see just how. Keep your eyes on Kakakod, and let's just see how he gets on in this game. But yeah, huge moment right now for Vitalize Black at this really early stage of the Vanguard season.
Yeah, so they've managed to get a good amount of time on the P1 for this time. Takeo, normally Vitalize have been the team to get that early bit of time, but now Kaka in towards bottom chart she goes. He's going to run into a couple. Oof, and didn't manage to hit a single bullet from that hip fire. He does have Tony out the back, locked into position. You can see the aggression coming through potentially from a couple more players as Zappy runs straight into one. A couple of players flying in towards the hill, but Kane chops down one, and this is all important time now for the Vitalized boys here to try and tie up this game. Although it's early days, you don't want Takeo to start to get a bit of momentum, because in the previous hard points, like we saw, Pablo, they managed to claw themselves back into it. So the last thing you're going to want to do is give them a head start.
Absolutely, and one of the problems you face here is that you can see the Vitalized boys started to push quite a way up map, and again, this is such a quick map, and again, like Bocage, for the spawns changing, like you push through church, and you're going to find that opposition team behind you. So Takos did have control of the map, that hill, for like a few seconds, but Vitalized do a great job, and already Takos starting to think about P3 and potentially just trying to extend that lead. But Vitalized Black definitely tails up this time. Major huge plays from the boys.
Yeah, now it's going to be a case of trying to shift these players out the back, Alvaro being one of them and Shanks being the other, combine and manage to just stay alive to manage to get the rotation. So now a good opportunity for these boys to get a solid amount of hill time on one of the more money hills here on Tuscan, and they are now starting to swarm in towards the hill. Now they should still be spawning relatively close. I think one of the players will spawn out. Yep, Shanks over towards the other side of the map. He goes. You've got Zappy, though, just locked in the back. They're still trying to get these players out of position. There isn't currently anyone on the hill from Takeo, but you feel it's going to be inevitable here. If... Oof, never mind, Zappy. No, he says nope and shuts down two. Oh my god, and he's just he's just absolutely chewing through the whole team of Vitalize Esports. And now they're going to be like, okay, well, we'll just chalk this one and rotate.
You know, I've been listening to a few of the kind of like high AM players, and they do not like that hill whatsoever. It's really easy to defend. It tends to choke up players into that L, and it becomes a killing zone. And we've seen it right there. Zappy absolutely destroying. You know, we've got two players sat in L, and he comes up behind them. And we again, these small, fast-paced maps where flanking is definitely the benefit. You know, this is the kind of map that someone like Zuma would have absolutely loved, or if you Ginger Joey. If you remember his kind of crazy flanks back in the day, this is the kind of map he would have reveled in. This is one of the biggest contest hills in the game so far. Is this Church Hill? It's wild. We're going to see a lot of big fights, and you can see that kill feed going back and forth. Unlike Bocage, where you tend to see kind of one team dominate for a short period of time.
Yeah, and it was a perfection kind of break from Takeo once again. Number 4. Alvaro is going to get taken down alongside Shanks. F. Dot only able to take down a couple with him. But Kitsava puts 3 players in the grinder straight after each other, and he's managed to push himself out now to 16 and 8, fully streaked out. Puts it on to an 8 streak now, and he is really starting to warm up now, and the lead from Takeo really starting to show for it. This hill now is going to be a very important one for Vitalize, you feel. They really need to get some form of time on this one. But they're going to have to try and go through Alvaro. Kane's going to be there for the trade. The players now starting to fly through from both teams. And Zappy just holding down low. Free fire coming through. Isn't going to connect with anyone as of yet. He might get pinched from the side. He's got to be careful here. He does have his teammates now nearby as the players come flooding through. Kaka in the bottom he goes. And this is the play that we tend to see a lot of teams do from underneath. Get control and then try and break in. And it's a good clean break there from Vitalize to get some much needed time.
Yeah, and a big amount of time. If they can hold on to this, it's going to be a good 35 seconds. But again, this is one of those hills where you do see them come from down low and try and get control. But Vitalize doing a great job there, and they're going to be able to get a solid 30 seconds. I think the key to this map for Vitalize is to keep Kitava quiet. He's 20-9, fully streaked, and he is definitely the player of the game so far. I think if they can control him, if they can keep him quiet, then they can take this to 2-all, not a problem. But they do need some of their players. Again, Kaka on the struggle bus at 9 and 15 with only 16 seconds, so they need Kaka to get involved again and as soon as possible.
Yeah, and Tony already looking to try and rotate potentially over towards the New Hill. Streaks are going to now come through. I think it is Alvaro utilising them. Yep, and he's going to get Kane out of that really awkward corner that we tend to see a lot of players just sit in and delay and soak up time. So Vitalize trailing by 50, but they're now on the P1. Nice shots from Tony, managing to just stay down and stay alive. He's incredibly weak, though. He's going to need some help very, very shortly, and Kane is there to provide it. Kitava again with another couple of kills. The man just doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon, and there's a third in quick succession. He is cutting down Vitalize one at a time. He's finally going to get stopped by Tony, and a very important kill, but a really good use there of the strafing run, something that we don't normally tend to see, with those streaks being very hit or miss on occasion, as Alvaro takes down F. and Tony, and Takeo looks as though they're going to get the remaining scrap time and that all-important rotation once again, Pablo.
Yeah, absolutely. And Zappy just needed to be taken off the hill because he got himself settled. He's, got a positive KD, a good solid 52 seconds. This has been one of the features of Takeo Esports throughout this whole game. They've been kind of like, each player has been consistent in every game mode. There's not been, this is the first time I think Shanks has fell off quite considerably, but he's still got 40 seconds. He's 8 and 18, but yeah, consistency definitely playing in favour of Takeo Esports, and Vitalize relying on, a big moment from big players. F-Dot being kept really quiet, but Kitava again, I think this is the key to winning this game for Vitalize Black and for Takos, is that can they keep Kitava quiet, or is he going to go on yet another tear?
Yeah, the efficiency that these guys have shown on Takeo is just showing here, because although they've got Shanks who's struggling, Kitava kind of cancelling it out by going 29 and 14. Although Vitalize, when you look at slaying, they're not exactly getting ran through in terms of kills and deaths, but the lead is really starting to show now. It's a big kill potentially for F. on the scrap time. He can't manage to get it, but Shanks is hiding in the back. He's over towards New, and he might be able to put Vitalize to rest here, because he might be able to take the hard anchor. Tony's going to drop in the back. There's still a couple of players now that are going to make a U-turn to try and get rid of him, but F. Is he going to manage to come over on the right-hand side and take him down? He gets some shots in. They really need to budge Shanks out here, because he is causing them to spawn out. There's a big gunfight in the back. F. Can he manage to get the kill? No, Shanks and Zappy with important kills. Once again, over towards the hill. Kaka, he needs to get a bit of momentum going. He's going to take down one. There's still a player nearby, though. And Kane is going to manage to get out the back. But again, it's going to be Takeo who manage to clear them out. They do have... I was going to say Kaka on the hill, sorry, but he is going to get taken down. So Vitalize, this hill time is really starting to get away from them now. And every time the kill feed lights up red, you glance at the scoreboard, Pablo, and it is just Takeo pulling away time after time.
Man, you look at Shanks, he's 15 and 20 right now, but that 13th kill he got is probably the most important kill in the game. The kill feed's gone entirely Takeo's way. He drops F. And he gets... That was a reaction kill like you've never seen. And he's able to destroy the anchor previous to that. And that just gets them that kill time. And that's what's got them this kind of like almost 90-second lead. A lot of work for Vitalize Black to do. And maybe just a little bit too much in a game where they really were looking to get 3-0'd and have done kind of monumental work to stay in this series.
Yeah, and that was an absolute textbook break there from the Spanish lads. Takeo, they just pushed everyone out from every single door. We've mentioned it before with some of these hills where players can just get shot from every single direction, and Takeo did the exact same break that they did before. Kaka is going to look to try and come to life in the dying embers of the game as he manages to take down 3 in quick succession. A really big moment for him and his team, because that could potentially at least give them a bit more breathing space over towards the next hill. But Zappy, he's going to look to try and put this one to bed potentially. They can't win off the hill, but they can get very, very close. It looks as though number 6, Tony, he's going to look to try and potentially get some scrap time. Oh no, maybe Kaka further back. He's going to go for it for now, but it's just going to be so difficult now for Vitalize with 28 seconds needed. And Kisava still flying high at 37 and 19. This is do or die here now.
Absolutely, and this is going to be a monumental hill for Vitalize. Probably one of the most difficult to try and kind of protect, and that is not a good moment for Vitalize Black as Tony gets dropped in. Probably Kaka Cod falls as well. This is not looking good for Vitalize Black Major at all.
Yeah, now, although Vitalize, they are just holding on. F. Dot, oh, hello. Is he starting to show up a little bit now? Potentially coming up to a bit of pace now. But there's still only 26 seconds left. Takeo have at least got a couple potential hills here to just rotate early or pinch a bit of scrap time here and there. And this could be the game and the series done and dusted here. Tony, Kane, they're getting kills now, Vitalize, so they're not going to go down without a fight here.
This could be a 30-second game right now. If they hold this, this could be a 30-second game.
And it looks as though Alvaro is going to try and stop the leak here because they have dropped quite a bit of hill time here. But Vitalize, they need to get over towards the new hill. You can see Alvaro is already close and nearby. It's just trying to get somebody on the hill. Can they manage to do it?
Big moment right now. F-Dot about to get one of the biggest challenges of the night.
He might need to try and check this corner. Oh, the man with the glide bomb's going for it instead. He's run straight past him, but he manages to get the kill instead. So now Ongo, Takeo onto the hill. The time is now really against Vitalize Esports. They're looking to try and flood through. Kitava, Shanks both get kills. There's one for Alvaro. The trade, though, for F-Dot is there, but likewise, it is for Shanks. And with 19 seconds left, something's got to give here for Vitalize. Somebody's got to make the sacrifice just to even try and make a play here. And they're trying to push through. Kane tries to work his way through mid. He's not going to manage it. 9 seconds left. F-Dot just gets on the contest. He takes down one. Kitava's underneath him. He needs to get the second kill. And oh my God, he just about manages to get it. But they just need a few more seconds now. But this looks as though
you're going to see Takeo start to rotate out for the next hill. This is the case that they've got to risk it. I think Vitalize, and there is the risk right there, man.
And now Takeo, they've got the rotation. 6 seconds remain. Somebody needs to make the play, and they need to make it quickly. It looks as though it's going to rest on the shoulders of Kaka. Otherwise, this series is going to be done. Flies around the corner. Shot in the back. Number 8, F-Dot, looking to try and get involved as well. He gets Sappy off the hill, at least for the time being. He takes down one. He takes down two, and everyone on the side.
Oh, shit, they can win it from this.
They can do it. They can actually manage to do this here, unless Takeo managed to get the break once more. They only need one clean break here.
Kaka with a big job to do right now. Kaka's got a huge job to do. He needs to clean them players up.
And number 4... in Alvaro, he doesn't manage to touch it. F-Dot gets the kill, but number 2, Kitava, he might prove the spoiler, maybe not the Spanish. No. Are they letting this slip? Tony manages to grab another kill. It's going right down to the wire, but Shanks on the flank. Somebody's got to try and make the play. He's coming around the back. Shanks is on the hill. He manages to take down one. Is this going to be game? Alvaro gets the kills, and Takeo finish off the series. Just about 3-1 in total, 250 to 236 on the hard point. But my God, Pablo, they almost let that one go.
Man, that was wild. Our heart is racing. What play from Vitalize Black towards the end of the game to bring a challenge into these Takos boys who were dominating again. Look at Kitava though. 44 and 29. 29 non-traded kills. The kid went on a tear. Absolutely went off. Kitava has been the player of the series so far. And he was the player that Vitalize Black needed to silence. And just, it was so close. They were 30 seconds away from being able to tie this series up. But I think it was just too much of a mountain to climb. And I think, you know, Kaka taking his time to get back into the game just didn't help them at all. But my God, what an ending to a game. And that is exactly what we wanted to see this week, was just that level of excitement and that level of insane plays. And hats off to F-Dot, man, with what, you know, I would say the singular performance of the tournament being is kind of Bakaj hardpoint, but Kitava just unstoppable from start to finish.
Yeah, that was one hell of a series. Although it finished 3-1, that could have gone either way. That map 4, Vitalize, they had an opportunity. They had just a little snippet of time to potentially flip that on its head and pinch the map, but Takeo, fair play. Again, what has been the story pretty much of their series so far has been regaining, and that is exactly what they managed to do at the end, and they come away with the win in this Esports Hub Group C game.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, if there's going to be a player to look out for, I mean, I'd love to cast him again, love to be on board with you boys again, is to see just how far Kitava can go. He's clearly a very capable player. But hopefully that's not the last we're going to see of the lads F-Dot, Kaka, Kane and Tony, because we know we can expect a lot from F-Dot. But what a hell of a game. This is the kind of Call of Duty we like to cast of an evening, where it gets that intense and that exciting. And, wow, absolute moments right there. Too many to pick. We've seen an absolute, you know, plethora plethora of three pieces. We've seen, you know, players who were having absolutely terrible starts, like Zappy, suddenly dropping 4 people in a game, like absolute moments. So, all the things that we complained about potentially at the start of Vanguard are just making this game so exciting to watch. Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know about being I don't fancy being a player.
Oh man, our hearts would be going through the roof if we were players. But guys, with that win now, we will take a look at the bracket. So Vitalize, unfortunately, they are going to stay bottom, and they will be 0-1. But that is an important win there for Takeo Esports. That's going to be their first one so far, and if that's a performance that could potentially be a bit of a catalyst for them to work their way up the table, it was one hell of a performance from those boys. So a big win there for those lads. But Pablo, I mean, we're just starting off here in the ES Hub League, and we've already had some absolute bangers when it comes to series.
The quality has been unreal, and it's really good to see some of these like European teams come in and just bring us some new faces, some new names to talk about, and some new experiences. And you know, we're going to see more Spanish sides dropping 4 pieces in crazy hard points. Then I absolutely welcome it. But yeah, you know, a lot of the players have complained about the time to kill, about the maps, about all kinds of stuff. But as from a caster's perspective, this is an absolute joy. It's an absolute joy. Sometimes a bit tricky to keep up with, but yeah,
You're telling me.
Say, we're starting to make up our own words. I think I actually said "my man" in one go. My man. I was like, what am I saying? Yeah, so yeah, it's proven tricky to keep up with Major. This is what we want.
100%, guys, 100%. So thank you all for everyone who has tuned in, been interactive in the chat, and been on board with us for this series. Unfortunately for Vitalize Black, they will have to go back, hit the regain button themselves, and come back stronger next time. But Takeo Esports, take my Vamos. That's a big win for them. They managed to come out 3-1 victors. And before we do leave, guys, a big shout out once again to the guys over at ES Hub for having us on the cast. And also a big thanks to my my northern comrade, Mr. Pablo, for joining me. Thank you very much, buddy.
Not a problem, and thank you again for doing all the heavy lifting. The man is doing all the work in between as ever, and he's the consummate professional. So thanks for having me as well, Major.
Oh, mate, pleasure's all mine. Pleasure's all mine. So yeah, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully we will be back sooner rather than later for some more ES Hub action, potentially with a different group and potentially another clean slate of new players who we don't know much about and then all of a sudden get very excited about. So that will be it from myself and Pablo this evening. A big shout out to everyone who's come through. Make sure you drop Mr. Pablo a follow on Twitter as well, and ES Hub as well. And if you do want to get involved, then feel free to look over on Twitter. They run all sorts of events and tournaments every single day, so feel free to drop over there and click on the website and get involved in the action. But that will be it from us two this evening. So a big thank you guys for tuning in. That will be it from us, and we will catch you hopefully in the future for some more games. So see you later, guys. Thank you very much.